The duelist role comes with a lot of freedom. It is one of the most freeing roles in the game. However, with all that freedom, there's one thing that most DPS players lack, and it's one of the most important aspects of that role. Well, don't worry, because by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what it is and how to use it to your advantage. In this replay, we're gonna be taking a look at the newest character added to the game, Phoenix. Just like this player, if you would like your own personal replay review, make sure you check out that highlighted pinned comment down below, respond to it, and your replay will get reviewed. Now, one thing you want to think about when you are playing DPS is which type of DPS character are you? Now, there's a lot of types, but I generally break it down into three. You have the long range, which is Phoenix, Hela, Hawkeye, stuff like that. You have the short range, which is things like Star-Lord, things like Psylocke, you know, these typical close range characters. And then you have straight up divers. Usually they're classified as melee characters like Black Panther or Magic and things like that. Now, of course, like I said, there's different types of all these characters, but if you break them down into that three, you can understand the play style that you need to have in order to be successful with them. Looking at Phoenix, this is a long range character, so we know that the type of strategy that we need to adopt more often than not is going to be that long range playstyle. At the start of this match, we're looking to see if we can get an off angle and do some damage. Now, for those of you that are confused about what off angles are, a lot of people think off angles are these crazy strategic positions, kind of like right here, this is an off angle, right here, this is an off angle, and that's not what an off angle is. The basic way to think of an off angle is anywhere the enemy team's majority is not looking. So if we take a look at Invisible Woman here, the majority of her camera focus is going to be here, right? So this means anywhere outside of where her crosshair would be focused is an off angle. It doesn't matter if it's in cover and it doesn't matter if it's out of cover. It's just, that's where it is. It's an off angle. And so when you're playing DPS, you're playing tank, you're healing, whatever, and you need to be at an off angle, especially like as a healer, this would be a great off angle to heal your team. Why? Well, because it's not in the majority of focus where this tank is. So every role can use an off angle well. You just have to understand what the off angle actually means and you can use it. So right now we're looking at an off angle and we're trying to see if we can do damage. Our team is getting pushed. We don't seem to notice. So we're probably gonna need to back up or we're gonna end up KO'd. We dropped down, we didn't notice, we did end up getting KO'd. That's perfectly okay, it happens. And we wanna look to reset. Now you guys might be thinking, well, Poppin, what was that important thing you were talking about that most DPS players lack? It's going to be something called target priority. Understanding what target needs to be taken out and why is the most important thing when it comes to DPS. Now it's important for tanks and healers as well, but when it comes to DPS, because you can do it much more efficiently, it's more important for you. Now, as I said before, we're playing a long range character, so we don't really want to be too close, right? You want to keep your distance. You see how we're basically in melee range of our tank. If your focus is going to be to take out this Captain America, you can do so from right here. The closer this character gets, the further you should back up, if that's your priority focus right now. So let's just say, okay, Captain America's coming and I'm going to focus him. You obviously see the character's getting ready to move, so you should move backwards. And you should be here. Not only does it make it easier for you to attack Captain America, but it also means you're not out of position if someone were to come around and try to do something onto the back line or something like that. So target priority is huge, but you also need to have good positioning. You see how your whole entire camera was just over here? What happens if someone came behind you and you didn't see them because your camera was flipped around backwards? You just gotta back up. It's same thing for tanks, you know, you have to back up when things approach you if you're a long range type of character, similar to like Magneto, he has to back up as well. Okay, so we're gonna do damage. As a long range character, this is not a good spot for us to be. Remember, long range character, long range strategy. A strategy for a long range character would be similar to the Punisher. You see how he's up here, he's a long range character too. Mag is similar to a long range character as well, to be honest. Your focus would be coming from up here, because you're having that good off angle. Maybe when you come up here, you're gonna be doing it from this way, so it's easier for you. You need to take more of these type of angles when you're playing long range characters and not taking these default short range kind of locations. Because there's not really much you can do. You don't really have any other target you can hit because you're funneling your camera into a position where you can only see what's in front of you. However, if you were to take that off angle, if you were to come up here, you would be able to have a lot more like freedom of who you want to take out and why. So we're doing some damage, we're getting the KOs, cool. We wiped their team more or less. Now we want to think about, okay, the next fight is going to start soon. Where should we be to get the most out of it? Well, you want to play around your tank. If your tank is, let's just say right there, he has an invisible line that a lot of players subconsciously think about. And we talked about this on stream, actually. There's that invisible line. Most players don't go past that because obviously that's the tank. So you have all this room to play around. If you're looking for a position, let's just say to fight when they respawn, and it's here, but your tank is back there holding that, you're out of position. If you get pushed, you're gonna have to try to run away and back up, and during all this time, you're losing out on DPS. You're losing out on the damage per second. This means that if a fight takes about 5 seconds to maybe, I don't know, maybe someone dives and it's a 5-second fight, but you spent 2 or 3 backing up, trying to turn around, trying to get into a safe position, that's a lot of seconds you just wasted. So let's play this out and let's see if anything like that happens. So we do come up here. Luckily your tank is holding that line. That invisible line is there. Okay. And now we're holding here. Okay, so this is fine, right? Your tank is moving forward and you want to hold. If we're a long range character, should we be here or should we be up here? If you're a long range character, the height advantage is something you want to abuse because being able to shoot down at a target is way easier than trying to shoot them on an even level. Now you could say, well, Poppin, this is a pretty good, like, it's still sloped, right? I'm higher than them. Yes, but if you get pushed, you have to retreat instantly and you just lost your advantage. Whereas if you get pushed here, you still can back up here, do a little bit of damage, even come over here and still kind of be in your height state. Okay, so we come up, we know Spider-Man's behind us. Luckily they took care of Spider-Man. And now we're doing that thing that we talked about where we're in front of our tank. So if you get pushed here, if this fight lasts about 5 seconds, we're gonna see how long it takes you to back up. So you're getting kind of low. You see what I mean? All that only stemmed because you weren't respecting where your tank was. If your tank decides to hold back here, well, we have to reposition because your tank is your front line. Your tank is your reason to be able to position in certain spots. Your tank gave you the space to play in. If that invisible line is right here, well, you get to play in everything behind the tank, not in front of the tank. Now, when you're playing dive characters and whatnot, you have a little bit more freedom. But when you're playing a character that's a long range character, you have to be more reserved. You have to be more structured in your gameplay. So if we were to play, where would be a good spot for us to be? Be up here. Could still do damage. If Spider-Man comes to dive, we can hurt them. But you're in a really, really safe spot because we already know that the fight is going to take place past this curve, right? We already know the fight's going to take place past this. So why are we positioned in a spot for when the fight breaks out? We can't help. Let's just say nobody even touches you and you're free. And then they decide to push your team. Well, you have to, again, back up, try to look to relocate. And you're just wasting so much time doing that when you could have already been prepared for the fight in general. So the biggest tip, not only is it target priority, but the biggest tip is to understand where the fight's going to take place and where can I set up so that way I'm in the most advantageous spot during that entire fight. So your team's kind of getting wiped again here, which is fine. Pick another spot. So if we're a long range character, right, where would we decide to be after this door breaks open? So let's look up. And I'm gonna give you guys a chance to choose where it is, okay? So let me give you guys like 3 seconds. Is it here? So this is 1, where we can look down. Is it 2, back there? Is it 3, kind of like right there, so we can shoot them there? Or is it 4, where we're up here? We're gonna say this whole section is 4. So in the building, kind of like to the left or above the building. Or do you think it's 5, where it's back there? So we're hugging this wall. Where is it? Real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is this whole entire section, or 5. For the most part, it's going to be 4. Why is it going to be 4? Because everything you want to do from all the other positions can be done at 4. You can definitely choose to, if your fight is going well, right? You can choose to play from this angle. So let's just say you notice all 5 of them are there. You can choose to play from this angle. The reason we don't play from this angle from the get-go, especially because your team is wiped, is because they can just kind of flood through here and push you away instantly anyway, which means you're gonna have to do the same exact thing that we talked about. But if you're already here, you can see it if I would break this wall, but you can see it when they fight you. And of course, this whole entire building is going to break eventually, but you're able to rotate much smoother when you have to back up. You don't really have to feel like you're stressed and all that extra nonsense. When you're playing a long range character, you always want to know where you can retreat safely and how quickly you can do it. So we do decide to use the top here, which is perfectly fine. Right now, we're just kind of raining down damage. We want to think about who's the target priority. So we understand that Cloak and Dagger just ulted, right? Imagine we don't see the ults at the top of the screen. We already know that Cloak and Dagger just ulted, which means the next person to ult is going to be Invisible Woman. If we want to win this next fight as a DPS player, we want to target the Invisible Woman. Now you could say, well, don't you always target the healer when you're playing DPS? No. Your target priority is going to be based off who is the biggest threat to your team at that moment. Sometimes it's damage, sometimes it's they have an ultimate that they're gonna use and stuff like that. Let's just say you know that she's getting ready to have her ultimate, which she is. If you can find a position to where she is low and you can take her out, take her out. That means that they might have a fight and maybe Invisible Woman uses her ult, but they don't have their tank and now their ults are out of sync. Like, this is stuff you want to think about. So it's not only just their positioning, their threat to your team in terms of damage, but also their ultimate charge. If we can get that KO onto the Invisible Woman, we're good to go. Once again, you got to think about where's the fight taking place? Where can we be that's a good spot as a long range character? It's not here. It's going to be back here. Because everything you want to do from that angle, you can do from this one, right? Everything. You're just not funneled. We want to try to not be together with our team. This spot is kind of weird to play on, I'm not going to lie. So you have to be a little bit more finessey when it comes to playing this. Going with the ult. Not really a reason to ult, considering that they have their ults, their support ult going. Okay, let's just ask ourselves real quick, where is this fight going to take place? Is it going to be here where it's at right now? Do they have momentum and they're going to shove you back and push you backwards? So the fight may take place here. Where do you feel like the fight's going to take place? Based off the circumstance. So we'll wind it just a little bit more, so you guys can also get a pretty good clue about where the fight may take place. So we ult. They ult. You ult. Right? And what can we notice right now based off the situation? They have the front foot, right? We're getting pushed back for some reason because you're frontlining. So based off of this, based off the fact that we just got pushed back, we can say that the fight might take place a little bit further back, which means we could probably position ourselves a little bit further back. They have the momentum right now, but let's see what happens. So the fight's taking place back here, right? If we would have thought about this before this even happened, we would have already been in the safe spot. We would have never even been in that whole fiasco of a fight. Now you're forced to waste time. Again, 5 to 10 seconds repositioning, getting health packs, moving around, trying to find a good spot to fight when you could have already been in a good spot to fight. In a situation like this, your team is actually pretty good, but if your team was horrible, you would have lost all these fights just because of the simple fact that you're positioning incorrectly over and over. So the biggest takeaway that I think you can have from this video is not only just target priority in terms of, you know, who might have ult charge next fight and, you know, who might be the threat to our team, but honestly, it's just positioning as a long range character. Your main thing as a long range character is to always think about where is the fight going to take place and where can I position so that I'm always in an advantageous position for that fight. That's how a long range character plays. A character that's a short range character or a diver has more flexibility, but when it comes to a long range character, it's very difficult for you to reposition over and over because your kit isn't really designed for it. So this is why it's one of the most important things when it comes to playing a long range character. As I said before, if you guys like your personal replay reviews, make sure you check out that highlighted pinned comment down below and respond to that comment. Just a brief reminder, members do get priority. This means that people that are members of the channel that help support the channel get to cut in front of the line. So this is why sometimes you might be like, well, Poppin, I submitted my review you know, 3 days ago. How come you haven't done mine? Well, it's because a member already submitted their review, and even if it was after you, they kind of cut in front of you. That's just a way that I can give back to my members, because they're the reasons why I can do free replay reviews or anything like that as well. So if you guys want to jump in front of the line and get your replay review taken care of, become a member, and that'll be how you do it. Not only does it help support the channel and the content that I create, but it also supports the players that are being able to reap the rewards from you guys being members. And of course, if you're like, Poppin, these reviews are great, but I don't know if it's going to be right for me. You know, I'd rather have that one-on-one approach where I can ask you questions directly throughout an entire coaching session. If that is something that you would like, there's a link below that you could check on, and you can sign up for a one-on-one coaching. We're going to go through one of your games, or I'll watch you play live, and we're going to be able to dissect your entire gameplay, talk about your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you can get on to reaching your goals. So if you're interested in that, link down in the description below. Until next time, you know what I always say. If you guys are doing what? Poppin' often. We'll often.